I am P.A. Brattemo from Prologon. This is to give you a brief introduction to business-driven development, the BDD method. Welcome. The overall purpose with the method is to provide a quick way to production-ready application or system in a safe and a quality-controlled manner. Ensuring that the knowledge, blueprints, business solutions, specifications, architecture, that is, all that makes up the system, still remains in the originator's ownership and not in the head of a hired developer or programmer. This is a common problem we've experienced several times in recovering systems and business applications. What is BDD? Existing methods tends to be over-bureaucratic, time-consuming and needs a lot of configuration, which can be the case with RUP, the rational process, or just aim at the final, sometimes oversimplified objectives or artifacts, not taking into account that business needs and specifications tends to change even during short cycles, which many times leaves us with a functioning, but for its business purpose, useless product. This happens more than once when using Scrum or other agile methods. BDD borrows elements from both of these opposites and package them in a clear and easily applicable method. The what in the method consists of 5 different layers that needs to be addressed. Layer 1, the business model. The business model is defined and refined. It is tested against the market segment and/or user groups. Particular headlines to address: market definition, revenues, gains, business mechanism, rationale, financial analysis. That is, topics you normally would address in a coherent business plan. Layer 2, business processes. In the light of the business model, processes and flows are defined and documented. Layer 3, use stories and use cases. Relevant use stories and use cases defines and describes. Layer 4, solution architecture. An overall architecture defines with hardware and software components and dependencies. Layer 5, code specification. Blueprint for code generation lays out, type solution for classes and functions. This step may also comprise actual code generation, but doesn't have to do that. Remember, all layers are laid out in sequence and addressed in that particular order. BDD also takes care of the time dimension in that artifacts, documentation, code, specifications, etc. are collected and added in a streamlined fashion as the starting point for lifecycle management, mainly in the form of different idle processes such as change management. BDD also handles the what and when question. Let's take a model example. Starting from layer 1, the business model is defined by an overall work group, the architecture group, and is decided by the executive group. If possible, work with dualism and separate roles. A peer review is always a good thing. By first week in October, in this example, there is a first version of the business model. In about 2 weeks later, it is time to present the business processes, developed by the architecture group and decided by the executive group. Based on the business models and the processes, after approximately 2 more weeks, it is time to present the requirements documentation. The architecture group, together with requirements specialists, extract and describe use stories, use cases, and other requirements documentation. It is set by the executive group. Based on previous findings and artifacts, the architecture group presents an initial solution architecture comprising hardware, platforms, and external software. Finally, the architecture group defines model code specifications, type solutions and best practices. This layer can comprise actual coding or coding activities, but doesn't necessarily have to do that. Given this example, the whole process doesn't have to take more time than approximately 8 weeks. In view of the gains, it is an extremely time and cost efficient process. Hope you enjoyed viewing and listening. Obviously, there is more to cover, but this is just an introduction and overview. Feel free to get in touch with us. Contact information is in the end of the movie.